Hi guys, and welcome to part 86 of Skyrim Mod Sanctuary. The first mod I'm going to show you in this video is a mod called Breezehome FullyUpgradable. Now you might be wondering why it is that I am considering using one of the homes that is part of the vanilla game, rather than one of the many player homes that you can get on the various modding sites. And the answer is pretty simple. I still consider this home to be one of the most convenient player homes in Skyrim. It is, of course, in Whiterun, which is central to everything. And this is especially useful if you are the sort of player who does not like to fast travel. Because, of course, you need to take the carriage everywhere. And the carriages all stop here at Whiterun. And as you can see, Karjo rather approves of this home as he's gone in to sit down and have breakfast on the balcony. But of course, this mod does more than just make Breezehome look a little nicer on the outside. The true benefits from this mod come once you enter inside. One of the things I like about this mod is that it doesn't radically change Breezehome from the point of view of the building layout. But it does look like somebody who knew how to decorate, walked in, took one look at the place and thought, no, this won't do, and made it better. It just looks so much nicer, so much more befitting a Thane of Whiterun. The place is quite neat, it's well laid out, it looks well stocked. And of course there are the usual display cases, but they're not too extravagant, they suit the house. There are plenty of places for you to store your trophies, and there's even a nice little desk for you to, count your fortune. And the upstairs area is much nicer. Just like the downstairs, it still has the same layout. It's just more functional, better looking, and has a lot more storage. There are a few additions though. You will find a hot tub. Oh, you'll also find lots of little notes left around telling you what the additions were. You do actually have to pay for all of these additions. I'll discuss that in a minute. And of course, the door to Whiterun onto the balcony, where you can sit, have a nice cup of tea, eat your breakfast, look out over Whiterun and feel just a little bit superior to the other citizens. And if you are the sociable type, there is a bar and a fully functional oven. And if that was just it, if that was all there was to this mod, I would still think it was a great mod. I still think this would be worth installing because of course it is much nicer to look at and just feels fitting. It feels right for a Thane of Whiterun. However, that is not all this mod offers. There is much more in the new downstairs basement area. You'll find a whole new area just for Lydia. She has her own room now, down in the basement, where many people feel she probably belongs. She has plenty of places to store her gear, so hopefully she won't steal yours. There is a fully functional crafting area with smelter, forge, grinder wheel and so on, so you can do all of your crafting down here. There is even a chest next to the crafting area that you can activate, and it will ask you what you wish to store inside it. And if you click all, for example, it will take all of your crafting supplies that are in your inventory at the time and place them here. And you may now use those from any of the crafting stations, which is very, very convenient indeed. And you can store everything, your pelts, your ore, your dragon bones, and so on. If you do not have any such items in your inventory, you will just go straight to the container. And of course, you have an enchanting table and an alchemy lab, complete with little notes from Gareth. Now for the enchanting table, you can actually place in this strongbox all of your soul gems, and they will be available to you when you enchant. And for ingredients for your alchemy, there is an apothecary satchel placed on the table itself. And once again, you can either put half your components there and so on, but I'm just going to stick them all there. And now they are available for use if I can get to my alchemy lab, and I can make potions with them. Oh, I probably should mention that you can, of course, take these notes so that they are no longer in the way. So don't worry, they're not there permanently. You sort of read them, pick them up, and then either throw them away or store them. All of this makes this home very functional indeed, but believe it or not, there is more. Now, I am going to show you something that is somewhat of a spoiler if you like to discover things yourself. There is a little secret that this house has, and if you do not want to know what that secret is, you will have to skip the next part of this video. I will leave a little link down below for the next video. I suggest you click it now, because I am going to have a tiny spoiler. It's nothing much. I'm just going to show you where a certain secret happens to be. Okay? Alright, well, assuming you're still here and game for it, there is a little secret door inside this wardrobe. A false back panel which will lead you down into a hidden area. And this hidden area is your very own underground secret library and wardrobe. So you can store all your books down here, a few secret outfits, perhaps your, superhero outfit down here. There is also an alchemy lab, and again, you have an apothecary's satchel. You can place your ingredients here if you wish to do your crafting down here. And of course, if you are the sort of person who needs a hidden underground area like this, you may need a secret way in and out of the city. Perhaps you're a vampire, perhaps you're a werewolf, and the guards don't take too kindly to letting you through the gates. No worry, you do in fact have a very cool secret way in and out of Whiterun. And even if you're not playing such a nefarious character, it's kind of cool to have a back way out anyway. Now, of course, you're not going to get all of this for free, and you're going to have to talk to one of the NPCs in the Bannered Mare, somebody called Gareth, who is fully voice acted with a somewhat strange accent that we couldn't quite figure out whether it was supposed to be Irish or a pirate accent. It turns out it's supposed to be a pirate accent, and even though it is somewhat comical, it's actually pretty cool. I do like it when NPCs are voice acted, even if the accents are not particularly brilliant. His lines are very good, and he does leave you these cool little notes whenever he upgrades something, so that's a nice little touch. There are some nice little additions, like there is a ledger that lets you change some of the options for the house, and I'm not going to spoil the surprise for you, but there was an interesting introduction to the house when I first entered that I thought was kind of entertaining. One thing I can tell you, there is supposed to be some gaps in the roof. You're supposed to be able to see through the gaps in the roof and be able to see Whiterun. I unfortunately cannot. I suspect it's one of my texture mods that has prevented that from happening, but you're supposed to be able to see out into Whiterun, which would be kind of cool. Of course, that does hinder your frame rate a little as well, but I didn't seem to have any problems. There was also one tiny little issue with the door to the balcony. When you open it, you can see a wall on the other side. It's a minor issue, and the mod author has already fixed it in the next version, which he has not quite released. But I thought I would mention it just in case. Well, basically so you know about it, but it is getting fixed, and it is a minor issue. The author has actually told me that he is adding a few new things to the mod, including the option to add a tower. Now, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know how it's going to look, but it is optional, so you don't have to buy it. And I'm glad about that, because one of the things I really do like about this mod is it doesn't really change the vanilla feel too much. You've got a balcony, you've got a garden, but the house itself generally seems to look the same, and therefore it doesn't make me feel like it's a little over the top. It doesn't make me feel like it ruins Whiterun in any way. And yet, it's very cool that underneath there in the basement there is this fully functional everything. So it really has everything you need from a player home, and all of the advantages you get with the modded player homes without actually changing Whiterun too much, and I do like that. All round, I think the mod author has done an exceptional job on this mod. He's taken what was a fairly boring, basic player home, the sort of one that we all start with when we first start playing, and turned it into something pretty magnificent. A home that I actually would like to stay in. It's well decorated, well laid out, it seems fit for a Thane of Whiterun, and it has every single amenity that you want. All of the crafting stations, all of the convenience, and tons of storage. And of course, you have the convenience of living in Whiterun, the central city in Skyrim. All roads lead to Whiterun, and of course, there is the coach service right outside. In fact, the only way this could be more convenient for me is if we moved the house and placed it right next to the coach, to the stables. That would be the only way. Really do like this mod. The next thing I'm going to show you is not actually a mod. It is a tool that will allow you to manage your different ENB settings, or FXAA, ENB and SweetFX settings. And it is called FXAA, ENB, SweetFX Manager. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, why do I need a tool for this? I just copy the files across, the ENB works, done. Well, this tool is for people who want to try out different ENBs. Perhaps, like me, you have an ENB installed. I have FinX ENB installed, you can see it here. And I've tweaked it a little bit to my specific needs. And maybe I want to try out, I've downloaded it, Opethfelt 6, which is an old version of Opethfelt's ENB and one of my personal favourite ENBs actually. And let's just say you want to try that out, but you don't want to lose all of the settings that you have for your current ENB. What you'd have to do is manually find all the files that you've installed, copy them somewhere, keep them safe, delete them from this folder, then install Opethfelt, try it out, and if you didn't like it, delete Opethfelt, go back to the folder you'd saved and copy it all across. It becomes a little bit messy. And of course, there are some chances that you'll miss some files, forget some files, overwrite them, and so on. And this tool attempts to make the process a little safer and a little easier. As you can see here, once I run the program, which I placed in the Skyrim folder, you can actually place it anywhere. It's a single executable file. You can place it anywhere, I think, but I ran it from my Skyrim folder. And when I did, it detected all of these files, 17 files detected. Now it's only detecting the files that are in the main Skyrim folder and any of the subfolders that might contain ENB files. So for example, ENB series folder. It does not detect files that are in the data folder. So if you have an ENB that's using certain textures, certain shaders, or requires certain ESPs, they're not handled by this program, but that is actually a good thing because I like to have those files handled by the Nexus Mod Manager anyway. So if you have got files like that that go into the data folder, I always recommend creating an archive of just those files, adding them to Nexus Mod Manager and installing them and uninstalling them that way. It's always a better option in my opinion. So this is only handling these files here plus any of the extra folders. So how does it work? Right, well I've got the ENB installed and this is my current profile, this is my current setup. I'm going to create a profile in the FXAA ENB SweetFX Manager and I'm going to call it my FinX ENB. So this is just the FinX ENB with all of the tweaks that I like, and then I hit save. And it has now saved all of those files to a specific place. I can now remove it. You'll see the ENB series folder disappeared, as did all of the other files required for the ENB to work. And don't worry, I can get it back very easily. I just go along to load, yes, and all the files reappear in the exact format and the exact tweaks that I had before. Okay, so no problem. Remove. I'm now going to install Opethfelt. Now again, the data folder I need to install another way. I use Nexus Mod Manager. If you prefer to do it by hand, that is up to you. But the files I'm going to need are all of these. Obviously, I'm not going to need the uninstall batch file because I'm going to use this manager. So I'm going to copy these into the Skyrim folder, and I also need, it's a very old ENB, it uses, I think it was based on 117, I have found a copy of 119 which is close enough I believe. I'm going to need that DLL, the D3D9 DLL, let me paste that there, and now that ENB, Opethfelt ENB is installed except for the data files that are required for it as well. I would have to set those up. They are here. I could tweak them as much as I liked and run it just like that. And I can even Opethfelt 6 ENB. So there you go. That's Opethfelt's version 6 ENB. And I'm going to save that. So I now have that one. I can try it out, do whatever I need to do, because this is a beautiful ENB. Maybe I'm doing some screenshots. Maybe I'm doing some testing. Or maybe I just wanted to try it out, but I decide against it. So now I remove it. It's gone. And I load FXAA back in. Of course, I have to do the data files. Again, with Nexus Mod Manager, there are some data files with FXAA ENB. I would then have to enable those as well. But that's it. FXAA ENB reinstalled exactly the way it was before all of my tweaks. And it's pretty much that simple. Once you get used to it, you can have a lot of different ENBs set up. As you can see, I've got a whole bunch of them now, and very quickly swap them in and out. And as long as I have the Nexus Mod Manager open at the same time, I can swap in the data files required for each of those very easily as well. So in actual fact, I can try 10 different ENBs out in a matter of minutes. And that is the beauty of this tool. And of course you can even delete the configs as well if you want, and there are 25 of them available. There are 5 sets of 5, so that should be enough for most people. There are a couple of minor weaknesses that you should be aware of, and the first one is sometimes it doesn't delete all of the files when you hit remove. So for example, if I install Seasons of Skyrim Full, which I've obviously installed earlier, you will notice one of these files is called d3d9injfx.dll, right? And that's required for this ENB. When I remove, it removes everything except that for some strange reason. It doesn't delete it. Now, if I install another ENB over it, say FXAA doesn't have that file, but now it does. Now, in this particular case, that actually will do nothing. That file is just simply ignored by the ENB and by the game. So it doesn't harm your system, but you should be aware of it, the fact that this file will be left behind. So you may have to delete that one manually once you've removed. Don't worry, when you reinstall Seasons of Skyrim, the file is added because it is required for this ENB. But it's just when you removed it's left behind. The only way this would ever be an issue is well, to be honest, I can't imagine it being an issue, because if you've got another ENB that uses a file the same name, when you load that one, it will overwrite this file. So honestly, it's more a cleanup issue than anything. And one other issue I did find is there are some files that don't actually get remembered. So for example, natural lighting and atmospherics for ENB, if I load this, it looks like everything's been restored, but in actual fact, that is not the case. If you go into a download, there are 2 files, one called EED Verisimono, I'm not even going to try and say that correctly, bitmap, and the enhanced ENB diagnostics FXH file. And you'll see they do not actually appear in the folder, and it doesn't seem to matter. You know, I can copy these and paste them back in. I can then update this, which has now saved it, remove, and you'll see it's left them behind. And if I delete them and then load it again, they will not be there. Now, I have actually no idea as to whether it's dangerous to leave those files in there, but of course you could leave them there, and then when you reload natural lighting and atmospherics, it would then work a little better. However, as I said, I'm unsure about that. Now, here's the thing. This tool seems to be being updated on a regular basis, so I'm hoping that things like this DLL that didn't disappear and the other 2 files that were not remembered will be added to the tool reasonably soon. My guess is as new ENBs come out, new files will need to be handled and this will need to be updated. But apart from that, just about every ENB I tried worked fine, and I did try quite a lot, and it made testing these different ENBs made the experience very, very easy, very simple, and a lot more pleasant than if I was copying them backwards and forwards by hand, especially once I've got them all set up and I can just very quickly load one in, try it, test it in one situation. Then if I think to myself, oh, you know what, I didn't test the dungeons, I can load it back in and test it later. Very useful tool, really liking this. This is one I'm going to keep my eye on, and I'm going to keep updating so that it handles more and more of the files that ENBs are providing. Now, the 2 mods that I've just shown you, or the mod and the tool, are things that I used in my live stream testing. I've started testing Skyrim mods live over on Twitch TV. I will leave a link down below, and that is turning out to be quite successful. I'm getting a lot of feedback from you guys at the same time as testing the mods. I'm also getting a lot of suggestions for mods, and in fact I've decided I'm going to do that every Monday from now on. I'm going to load up Skyrim, go live, and you guys can throw suggestions at me for mods that I should test, or if I've got some ideas, I will do the testing and you can, help me discover the ins and outs. Another mod I tested during this process was a mod called More HUD, and it's very useful indeed, very polished, and it's probably something a lot of you would like. I did an entire video devoted to it, Skylight 18. I will put a link to it here. Go and watch that. That tells you all about it. But that was another one of the mods that I tried in the live stream. Since the last Skyrim Mod Sanctuary, I have also done another Skylight 17, and that was about scoped bows. So if you're interested in bows that have scopes to help you make those sniper shots, go and check that video out as well. But that is it for this video. I am going to end with some screenshots as usual, the screenshots that you guys have been posting on my Nexus page. A big thank you to all of you who have contributed so far, and if you want to submit your own screenshots, I will leave a link down below. Go along to the image section and post yours, and I will try to use as many as I can. As I've already mentioned, I am going to be testing some more Skyrim mods on Monday. I will leave a link down below. It will be at 8:30 p.m. European time, and I appreciate that's a little early for people in America, and I do apologize for that. However, if you want to come along, join in, see me testing mods, perhaps suggest mods of your own, you are more than welcome. I would really appreciate the feedback. And of course, there is a good chance that those mods will appear in next week's Skyrim Mod Sanctuary. And yes, there will be a Skyrim Mod Sanctuary next week. I believe I've got my timetable sorted out now and can go back to weekly videos. Let's see if I can stick to that promise. Anyway, you are more than welcome to join me on the live stream to give me some feedback, or to just join me on the next Skyrim Mod Sanctuary. But whichever video you decide to join me on, remember, until then, as always, have fun.